taping their wrists on the ice and like taking off their visors and.
Can I have this chance?
Pretend. Yeah, and then after about 10 seconds they fight, and the refs are like, okay, well they made a conscious effort to join the play. And it's just like, whatever.
Biz, that reminds me, when you just said taking off the visor, that reminds me of that Colby Armstrong story.
The greatest hockey story of all time.
I
tell it like I was there.
All right, I don't even know why I didn't bring this up when we had Army on the podcast. Have I told you the story about his first pro fight?
Probably because we have collective AD fucking D on this show. We go from 19 subjects in an hour and never gets always close to them.
If you guys haven't heard this story, I would grab like a beer or something. This is the best story I've ever heard.
No, I think I never forget, and I think telling someone in person is better, but I'll do my best on this podcast.
Yes.
So Army came when he was drafted. I can't believe we didn't bring this up to him, but when he was drafted, he was like 6'2", like 182 pounds. He was so thin and frail. And so he's playing his first year in the AHL. He's played 20 games. He's coming from the WHL where he like played, physical and played like a rat and would fight occasionally. So he's like, all right, I got to get a fight. I need my first pro fight. I got to do it. So he's been talking about it 5-6 games. So finally the team, Wilkes-Barre, they're in They're in Hamilton, playing the Hamilton Bulldogs. And in the first period, Army goes to the net hard and collides with this guy, Gavin Morgan, who we'll go into him later. We'll go into him later in the story. But they end up pushing. They end up pushing each other after the whistle and like, fuck you, you want to go? Yeah, I'll go you next shift. Refs are coming in and Army gets back to the bench and he says to a couple buddies, I'm going that guy next shift. They're like, fucking right. So the benches at this rink, or most rinks, they're right next to each other. And it's an AHL one, so there isn't the TV guys in the middle. You can see right into the other bench. And Army's like, I'm next shift. Holy fuck, I'm so jacked up. They're like, fucking right, Army. So Army looks down the bench to their side of the bench to like look at him, maybe size him up a little bit. All he sees is Gavin Morgan staring at him through the glass. Hands his helmet off that has a visor on it to the trainer. The trainer immediately starts taking the screwdrivers to the visor, taking the visor off. And then Gavin Morgan proceeds to grab some thick white tape, not even medical tape, just thick hockey tape, and starts taping his wrist as he's nodding at Army. Like, yeah, fucking right.
That's the part of the story that you need to tell in person why it's so good, is because the gesture of him taping his wrist, looking at him and nodding his head and licking his chops. At this point, I'm in tears in person.
Yeah, just imagine a guy just looking at someone like, oh, fucking right, I'm going to kill you. And you're thinking like,
your lunch.
And I don't care how tough somebody is. If somebody's looking at you like that, you in your mind are like, this person's psychotic. Like, I'm a little intimidated.
The fight's already been lost.
Exactly. So needless to say, Army goes out, and at this point he can't back down, and he squares off with Morgan, drops the gloves. At this point, Morgan doesn't have a visor on. Army takes one punch to the side of the head. He goes down about 6 inches, takes another one to the nose, goes down 6 more inches, and then takes one to the chin and is on the ground. Like 3-punch knockout, bam, bam, bam. First pro fight. How you doing? So Army gets he skates off on his own power. He said he was bleeding, bloody nose, like you can already see the black eye forming. And he walks into the locker room and he gets a big bag of ice and he's laying there. Okay, so about 5 minutes go by, the period ends, and the team comes in the locker room. And guys, Biz, you know what I'm talking about. Guys, after
everyone's like, yeah, way to go, Army, fucking ice,
Yeah, fucking ice, Army did. And the couple guys will be funny, like, doesn't matter, just have to show up, just bullshit like that. The first thing Army hears is from I don't know, people definitely remember his name, Alexander Daigle. Am I saying his last name right? Is it
first overall pick?
What a bust.
First overall pick. But apparently a hilarious guy, and he's got this French accent, and all he says to Army, no good job or anything, goes, holy fuck, Army, check the game notes, bud.
Because this guy had 250 penalty minutes the year before. He was just a killer.
Army had no idea, just because the guy was smaller and not as tall. He's like, all right, this guy can't be tough. I think he had 223 PIMs the year before and was just fighting 20 times a year. And it was just the most Army telling that story. I cannot believe I didn't bring that up.
Oh my god.
Biz, did that ever happen to you?
It's good stuff.
Biz, did that ever happen to you where you square someone up and you just didn't know that they were tough as shit and they just beat the shit out of you?
No, I usually knew when I was going to get it. When I
You did your pregame prep?